Hi everyone, I'm Sauradeep. This here is Sunit, and we are the Dim-Witted Daredevils. Both of us are residents here at AIIMS New Delhi, and we've been in the city for almost 2 years now.
So it started off as a very grueling residency, and then we got sucked into this raging global pandemic. So once things started getting a little bit easier, we realized how little we actually know about this historical city.
So both of us got on our bikes and decided to acquaint ourselves with what is amongst the most populous cities on the planet.
Our first stop is what is known as the dormitory of the Mughals, or the Humayun's tomb.
We brought a camera along so you don't miss out on our fun. So we left at around 5 o'clock in the morning when it was still dark outside. Yeah, I know. We are weird that way. The roads were almost empty and we had a lot of fun riding in the dark. For those who are planning their next ride, keep in mind though that helmets, headlights and now masks are absolutely non-negotiable. By the time we could see sections of the ramparts, it was almost dawn. Good thing for us, we had pre-booked the tickets the previous night, so entry into the complex was a pretty seamless experience. We entered the complex through the main gate on the western side and immediately were greeted by two over-enthusiastic canines. Immediately to our right, we encountered the Boo Halima enclosure. Not much is known about her, and historians are of the opinion that this part of the complex might have been built later. Next to it is the Arab Sarai, literally meaning sarai or rest house for horses. This in turn is adjacent to the Afsarwala tomb. The Arab Sarai was built by Bega Begum again and has been said to accommodate around 300 horse carts. Next we encountered the Afsarwala tomb and mosque to the southwest of the complex. We do not know who exactly this tomb was dedicated to, but folklore attributes this tomb and mosque complex to Afsarwala, meaning officer. After a brief stroll through Boo Halima's garden, we got our first glimpse of the imposing structure of red sandstone and white marble, the Humayun's tomb itself. We walked through the Charbagh, or the four gardens, which are based on the four gardens of Jannat as mentioned in the Quran. The initial planned garden has been through multiple facelifts and is currently being maintained by Sundar Nursery. Construction for the tomb began in 1558 under the patronage of Jalaluddin Akbar. Bega Begum, the first wife of Humayun, handpicked a group of Persian architects for the construction. There is heavy influence of Persian architecture on the monument in the form of arches and pillars, which was never before seen in India. Standing at a height of 154 feet, Humayun's tomb is the first garden tomb in the Indian subcontinent. In 1993, this was declared as a UNESCO heritage site. The complex encompasses numerous tombs, that of Bega Begum, Hamida Begum, and Dara Shikoh. Numerous other people from the Mughal era are also buried here. The main cenotaph of Humayun is housed in a central recessed room, with the emperor being buried in a north-south direction, with his head towards the north and his face turned in the direction of Mecca, also known as Qibla, which is denoted by the light coming in through the central marble lattice or jali. During partition of India, this, along with Purana Kila, served as refugee camps for about 5 years. Finally, restoration work under the Aga Khan Trust was started in 1993 and is still ongoing in tiny bits and pieces. Finally, we reached the Isa Khan tomb. Isa Khan was an Afghan noble in the court of Sher Shah Suri who fought against the Mughals. The tomb built almost 2 decades before the main monument, is considered significant for the high level of ornamentation, glazed tiles, plasterwork, etc., much of which sadly has fallen to ruins today. As our trip drew to a close, we bid adieu to the imposing structures of the Mughal era, and the dim-witted daredevils will see you again soon enough.